Hey guys, Mike here, and in this video we're having side by side Sony's latest flagship, the Xperia Z1, and Samsung's Galaxy Note 3. Both run Android Jelly Bean on a Qualcomm Snapdragon 800 hardware platform, and both are large and heavy devices. However, the similarities between the two end here, so let's go ahead and see which one comes on top in a direct fight. Let's start with the size. The Xperia Z is a tad more compact than the Note 3, but a few grams heavier as well. And that despite the fact that it packs a smaller 5-inch screen as opposed to the large 5.7-inch one on the Galaxy, so there's a lot more screen and less bezel on the front face of the Note. However, the Xperia is clearly the sturdiest and the better looking device of the two. The Z1 inherits the monolithic glass sandwich design from the Xperia Z and enhances it with some solid aluminum edges. It's also IP58 certified, or in other words, water and dust resistant. The Note ditches the hyperglazed plastic back we've seen on previous Galaxy smartphones for plastic in disguise, meant to mimic leather with a nice texture and even some faux stitches. And while that's a step forward, it doesn't really stand proud next to the Z1, nor aesthetically and nor when it comes to the overall build quality. Of course, the plastic shell does help keeping the weight down, and at the same time allows for a removable rear plate with quick access to a user replaceable battery, something you won't find on the Xperia. Besides that, since the Xperia is waterproof, most ports and connectors are covered by some plastic flaps, while the speaker, earpiece and microphones are muffled by some membranes that have a negative impact on their performances. And since we're talking about ports, I should mention that there's an IR blaster on the Note, plus a microUSB 3.0 port, which allows faster transfer speeds and charging times. So you lose some and gain some with both these devices when talking about the exterior aspects, but let's see how the screens fare against each other. On one side there's a 5-inch Full HD display on the Xperia with an LCD panel enhanced by Sony's Triluminous technology. It's sharp, clear and bright, while painting some very nice colors. However, the viewing angles aren't perfect, but they shouldn't bother you that much as there's little content degradation when watching the screen heads-on. On the other side there's the 5.7-inch screen of the Note, with an AMOLED Full HD panel. AMOLED screens have the excellent contrast, blacks and viewing angles on their side, but aren't very bright and do paint some oversaturated colors. So overall it's hard to choose one side over the other. Still, everything is a bit bigger on the large display of the Note, so easier and more comfortable to use and watch. And you'll see that when playing games, watching movies or scrolling through websites and news updates. Anyway, both these phones can easily handle anything you might throw at them, from basic stuff to games, multimedia content and other complex activities. They are both incredibly zippy in everyday use, while changing between apps, navigating through home screens and so on. The hardware takes the most merits for this, as the two are powered by the same Snapdragon 800 chip. The Note CPU is however clocked a bit higher, and there's also 3GB of RAM on this one, as opposed to the only 2 on the Xperia, and that translates in better benchmark results for the Galaxy. Still, you're probably not going to feel the differences in daily use, unless you're going to heavily multitask on these two, in which case the multi-window mode on the Samsung will come in handy. Besides that, both devices pack their own versions of small apps that can float on top of your active windows. Hardware aside, the software has something to do with the performances as well. There's Android 4.2.2 on the Sony Xperia Z1, a fairly clean version of it. You do get some interface tweaks like the lock screen, the themes and the notification panel, plus a few pre-installed apps, but not as many as you do with the Note. There's Android 4.3 on the Samsung with TouchWiz on top, which changes pretty much everything from the home screens to the multitasking panel and settings windows. Not necessarily for the bad, but TouchWiz tends to be somewhat ugly and laggy. Besides that, there's a large selection of software on this Galaxy, plus a few extras like the magazine mode, which groups your news and social updates in a flipboard-like layout, the one-handed operation mode that lets you shrink the interface so you can easier cover it with your thumb, the gestures, air view and eye tracking features. Last but not least, don't forget that there's the S Pen on the Note and it comes with its own air view and air commands functions. So at the end of the day, on the Xperia you get a simpler, cleaner Android base on top of which you can build your own customized device. With the Galaxy, there's a large selection of apps and features bundled. Some might be useful, some might not, so it's up to you to choose which interface better suits your needs and taste. Either way, there are a few extra things I should add here. For instance, on the Xperia the Android main navigation is embedded within the interface, while on the Samsung you get the home button and the haptic back and menu keys placed below the screen. And since you're looking at the front face, you should know that there's a notification LED on the Xperia Z1 as part of the upper earpiece. However, the overall voice quality is superior on the Galaxy, mostly due to the fact that the Sony is waterproof, and the same can be said about the speaker's volume and clearness. Connectivity-wise, there's really nothing missing on any of these two, with LTE and Wi-Fi 802.11 AC support, Bluetooth, GPS and NFC. The Note 3 does pack a few more sensors though, like the barometer, hygrometer and thermometer used by apps like S-Health. Anyway, let's get back to some serious stuff, the cameras. Both pack 1080p capable shooters on the front, and you can see the results here. On the back, the Note 3 packs a slightly enhanced version of the 13-megapixel camera on the Galaxy S4, with the same camera interface, features and shooting modes, and only a few improvements like the ability to take 4K videos. Sony went for a larger sensor with a 20.7-megapixel resolution, and in theory, based on the specs, it should wipe the floor with the shooter on the Note 3. In practice though, the camera software messes things up, as the post-processing mushes up all the details and mixes them up in an unclear blob. That's why the Note takes sharper and more detailed pics in good light. In poor light, the differences are less obvious, and the Note really struggles to focus properly. Regardless, check out the pics and videos for yourselves, and let me know which one is in your opinion the better camera phone. That aside, let's turn our attention on the battery life. There's a replaceable 3200 mAh battery on the Note 3 and an encased 3000 mAh battery on the Xperia Z1. With average use, the Note 3 can last for 2 entire days, while the Xperia Z1 can't always get there, but it for sure offers enough to go through that first day. When taking a closer look though, you'll see that the Xperia is through its battery faster when playing games, running movies or displaying websites. In each case, you'll be getting about 30 to 50% longer run times with the Note 3. And don't forget that you can easily swap the battery on this one if needed, while on the Xperia that's not an option. Alright, so all in all, the Note 3 takes, in my opinion, the bigger slice of the pie here. It loses points when it comes to looks, build quality and the ugly and loaded UI. But it's just as fast as the Xperia Z1, if not faster, packs an awesome large screen in a body only narrowly larger than the one of the Sony, offers the S Pen and all its functionality, takes sharper pictures and lasts longer on a charge. All this while selling for $100 more than the Xperia with 2-year contracts, or about 100 to 150 euros more unlocked over here in Europe. In the end though, both are excellent devices and it's up to you to decide between the two. So what do you say? Which one is the better pick here? Please leave your replies below and make sure to tell you what's the thing that you like best about the handset you chose. I'm really looking forward to your replies. Anyway, that's about it for now. Thanks for watching and don't forget to check out the extended coverage on both these devices on the channel. And go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, so you won't miss any of my future updates. Catch you later.